sack indeed. PN 2206. Nice queen sack. Thank you. Let's go d4. It was a very ambitious queen sack for sure. It would be interesting to maybe check with Stockfish later if it's actually good or not. Let's try e4. This is the most ambitious move, taking the full center. According to Frode Urkedal, this is the way to punish... hey, go Noam! Thank you for the motivation, Halvard HF. Knight c6, this is definitely possible. Is d5 the move or knight f3? I always forget, to be honest. So let's see, d5, knight e5. Then I think bishop f4 is the fear. Yeah, something like that. I think this is how you play in this position, as far as I remember. I haven't studied this opening nearly enough. Always trust Frode. Yeah, Frode Urkedal is a very good chess grandmaster for sure. I mean, I've talked to him many times. He normally play e3, traps a lot of weak players. Yeah, there is this temptation to go b5 and then after a4 go a6 and you take and you get queen f3 in, yeah? Sorry, c6 and then, yeah, you take on b5 and get queen f3. Is knight c3 the move here? I think so. Defending the pawn on e4, at least from what I remember, and it also makes a lot of sense just defending the pawn on e4. b5, then there is knight takes b5, knight takes e4, knight takes c7, so b5, while it's very creative, sadly loses. So I think e5 is the way you go and play in this position, but I also wonder about the move e6. Yeah, e5, as far as I remember, is the move in the position. And here I think knight f3 or knight e2, this is the question. I'll go knight f3, I guess. I guess I castle in this position. My opponent has a backward c-pawn, but it might not be so easy to use. Let's try rook c1, I guess. Yeah, I wonder what my plan is next. I wonder if bishop e2, knight d2, knight c4 could be a very nice plan to improve the position. Who is Frode? Frode Urkedal. It's a grandmaster from Norway who plays for the same team as I do, so I know him quite well. His rating is like 2557, but I think he's good enough for at least 2600 strength, because his understanding in chess is very impressive. Do I go bishop b3 or bishop d3? I'll actually go bishop e2, so that after bishop g4 I can proceed with knight d2. Because I thought after bishop d3 and bishop b3, maybe bishop g4 is an annoying pin, because then my plan with knight d2, knight c4 doesn't work. I wonder if I can play knight takes e5 in this position. Then there is bishop takes knight takes g3, so I probably cannot play that move, unfortunately. What can I do in that case? I'll just go with my plan knight d2 to c4. This is what I intended to play. Let's go knight c4. Okay, I've improved the position of this knight. What should I do next in the position? Wow, this spices things up a bit, but could potentially also weaken my opponent's structure. Guess I'll go for bishop f3, and then after pawn takes e4, play knight takes e4. Nice, hope you can learn a lot from him. Yeah, Frode Urkedal, he actually gives many lessons for the players of the elites, of the best 1911 team, which I played for. And yeah, I've learned a lot from him, especially when it comes to openings, because you know grandmaster preparation in openings is really good. He has very great knowledge in many openings. So I've definitely expanded a lot of my knowledge by the help of Frode Urkedal. Now it's tempting to take on e4 and go knight e4 next. I could also go rook e1. I guess I'll just go rook e1, keep it simple. When there are two similar choices that are roughly equally good, it's not very wise to spend a lot of time on them. This is an advice given by John Nunn, who's written many chess books and himself has been a very strong grandmaster when he competed. So yeah, John Nunn, b5 is very weakening. I don't like this move at all, because now the pawn on c7 becomes even more exposed. I wonder if I should go knight e3 or knight takes d6. I'll just go knight e3. It seems more instinctual, because after knight takes d6, I do get the bishop there. But then it turns out that my opponent doesn't have a weakness on c7 anymore. I guess I'll take with the knight. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I have the idea of knight c5 next, using some weak squares created by moving the pawn on b5. Pawns don't move backwards, guys, and now my opponent can't use this pawn to defend the c5 square, so he uses a queen instead. Fair enough. Let's reinforce the idea of knight c5 with queen c2. I'm starting to get a slight time advantage, which can be pretty important. Yeah, let's go knight c5. If c6, I think I'll take on d7 and claim that I have the bishop pair. And also, yeah, I think I'm winning material actually afterwards. Let's take on c5. Yeah, I actually blundered knight d3 in the end of the variation, guys, and now I'm positionally better, but an exchange down in return, yeah, so that's a bit unfortunate. I guess I'll go rook c1. Actually, I think he'll take the rook on c1. Yeah, this is sad, but I'll try and swindle my opponent, because you wouldn't believe how often you will be able to swindle your opponent if you don't resign. I was just about to play bishop e4, blundering another exchange. That would have been quite nasty. What to do here, guys? How should I try and swindle my opponent? Try king f1, so bishop e4 is possible now. I think the bishop is placed well here. I wonder if knight f5 is an idea. Maybe I can play h4 and try and undermine my opponent's knight on f4, even though it is well placed here. I definitely would like to maneuver my bishop on g3 onto another square, because currently it's pretty ineffective there. Let's try that with f3, bishop f2. Pretty simple idea to go f2 in this position. A rook. Yeah, I'm starting to get the time advantage, which is very important when you're trying to swindle your opponent. It's very tempting to take on g6 and ruin my opponent's structure. Let's try and do that, guys. Then I'll go king e2 next, perhaps, and bishop g3, putting pressure on his pawn on e5. Now I have improved my position slightly, at least. Okay, now it's tempting. Let's take it with the pawn. Yeah, my opponent just gave me a pawn, which makes my position slightly better, I guess. Let's go bishop g3. My opponent was attacking the bishop on f2. Okay, my opponent gives me rook takes c7, and this is another pawn, which I will gladly take. So we'll go for the move d6, trying to get a past the c-pawn. Then knight d5 next, maybe. Wait, I need to protect my pawn on g4 before I proceed to do so. If bishop e6, then there is a nice move, knight d5. Okay, let's go knight d5 with the idea of knight b6. Yeah, I simply want to promote my pawn now, guys. Yeah, now I won his bishop. Let's go knight d6 and pick up the pawn on e4 as well. Yeah, now I am completely winning, guys. So this is very important. Even though you blunder, you shouldn't resign, because very often you will be able to swindle your opponent